Everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master and Pro Player, here to guide you in the ways of modern Merfolk. Oh, and we've got something spicy for you. We're trying it out again, Chalice of the Void. I'm not done with this card, and neither should you. So if that is what you're into, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But before we get into our game, we're going to thank our sponsor, themanabase.com. And if you want to find out how to take all the EDH staples and turn them into janky decks, don't forget to check out The Meta Worker by James LePage on themanabase.com. Your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. So we lost the die roll, but this hand is very good. We're going to keep this. Anything that goes like turn 1 Ether Vial into turn 2 Chalice is going to be great. Oh, and this is going to be really good. We're up against Tron. So long as our opponent doesn't show another Tron land, we're going to be in super great shape, because then we can play Chalice on 1 followed by Spreading Seas, instead of Spreading Seas followed by Chalice of the Void. Chalice of the Void is very good against normal Tron. Just normal Tron, not Eldrazi Tron. I don't think it's going to be that great. Or maybe it has some application, but I doubt it, because Eldrazi Tron also wants to play Chalice on 1. Okay, Island, Ether Vial, go. We've got a Silver Gill Adept, we have a Master of the Pearl Trident, we have a clock. The clock is here. Great, a forest. So this is it's probably mono green Tron. And I don't think they're incentivized to okay, that's fine. They're not incentivized to play 1-drops at this moment, because they would want to crack the expedition map. They want to get this thing. So they just got an Urza's Tower, and we're going to show them Chalice of the Void, and they're not going to be happy about that. No one's happy to see Chalice of the Void. Oh, another Spreading Seas. They're really dead. So this is one of the points of playing Chalice of the Void. Like, every single deck in the format is... Okay, sorry, not every single deck, but there are enough decks that fold badly to Chalice of the Void. I also think it probably, like that, our last matchup, 8-Whack, also folds badly to Chalice of the Void if I was better in tune with their list. Chalice on 1 was definitely a lot more stronger than Chalice on 2. But Chalice on 1, now you would think, like, what is this going to do against Tron? Well, I'll tell you what. It hits Expedition Map. It hits all the mana rocks, like Chromatic Sphere, and I don't remember what the name of the other one is. But it hits things like Expedition Map. Doesn't hit Sylvan Scrying, though. This is a bit awkward. So what are they going for? Urza's Power Plants. What, is everything weak? So we're going to be in this weird situation. They've got tons of ways of getting land. And we're just going to have to keep slamming Spreading Seas every single turn. If we can draw a Mutavault, that would be really nice, because that would be a nice, reliable way of putting a clock on the board. Let's try to... Well, let's just play Spreading Seas. Start with that. I'll play on the Urza's Tower. And I might main phase the Silver Gill Adept just to try to draw a Mutavault, because being able to attack for 6 damage next turn is a big deal. Oh, there it is. Thanks. Thank you, Magic Gods. I might attack for 6. Maybe I'm just going to attack for 4. But being able to get in that clock is important. So is this going to be Oblivion Stone? Oh, it's Eldrazi Tron. Okay, so... okay, that's fine. And they're not going to even waste any time. So actually, this Dismember has... I'm a little bit happy, because now this Dismember is going to be turned online. It's going to be worth something. It was worth nothing just a few seconds ago. Urza's Tower. Alright, more towers. So we have to hit the power plant. That's the next sensitive land. Harbinger of the Tide's not bad. It's a useful card in this matchup. Bounces Reality Smasher very well. No, what is going on here? There's a forest here. How can this be Eldrazi Tron? Why would Eldrazi Tron be playing Sylvan Scry? Okay, forget it. Okay, forget it. Everything that I just said, that's nonsense. It's impossible. It's just an Eldrazi Tron deck. Sorry, it's just a Tron deck playing with Walking Ballista. That's all that's happening here, as far as I'm concerned. I'll play Harbinger of the Tides and pass. It's utter nonsense. So if they can't get Tron online... So the Chalice of the Void is active. It's good. It's doing its job. See? See? It's doing its job. Boom! Yeah, that's not how that works. You can try. You can fill your graveyard up if you need the cards in there. Now, we're not out of the woods yet, because our opponent can still do something like... they can do something like play... they could just rip the Tron land. That would not be good. I think I'm going to play a Master of the Pearl Trident, or maybe I should play Harbinger of the Tides, hit for 4. Actually, okay, I'm going to play a Master of Waves. I'm going to get Devotion of a billion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 power. Plus the Mutavault on the battlefield. I guess I can play Harbinger of the Tides. If our opponent just curves out into a Wormcoil Engine, that would be fine. And actually, having as many of these things on the battlefield are fine. Holding up this Ether Vial for the moment they play Walking Ballista, I think will be good. Well, I guess they'll play Walking Ballista for 2. It won't make a big deal. I'm just going to play the Harbinger of the Tides. It doesn't really matter all that much. Our opponent will go down to 16 after I play Master of Waves. We will have a clock that will kill our opponent. We need to fade Sylvan Scrying. We need to fade just naturally drawing Urza's Power Plant. Walking Ballista for 2 would be annoying. I don't want to see that. It'd just be utter terrible. There's also the possibility that I could Vial Master of the Pearl Trident at my upkeep, take this Vial up to 3, attack with everything for 9, and I'm threatening lethal next turn. Does that play around anything? 9. They go to 11, and then we can take up Vial to 4 and potentially flash in Master of Waves, so we don't commit a potential lethal winner to the board. Maybe we can do that. So I can play Harbinger right now. Then at my upkeep, with the Ether Vial trigger on the stack, we activate it. So I don't mind that. I don't mind that plan. So here we Vial in Master of the Pearl Trident, attack for 6, take this thing up to 3. If our opponent plays Walking Ballista for 2, then take this thing up to 4, attack for a billion again. And if they try to use any of the counters, we flash in Master of Waves. I talked myself into it. talked myself into it. What's our opponent doing? Multi-queuing? A cool thing about these Chalice decks is that the games usually run pretty short. I mean, because you hose certain decks with Chalice, they like just concede. And the games just go... Yeah, they do run shorter in general. Well, that's the card I did not want to see. So let's cast it and see what happens. Maybe we will see a Spreading Seas. Just hit the Urza's Tower and win easily. Not a Spreading Seas. So I'm just going to go for the 9 damage to threaten lethal next turn. Okay, our opponent saw enough. They don't even want to see the next draw step. I mean, I guess maybe their hand is air. So what we're going to want are Deprives. We might want Echoing Truth. I'll think about what I'm going to take out. Because you can bounce things like Oblivion Stone. They're going to play Oblivion Stone for 3, and they could just pay any 5 mana to activate it, blowing up all our Spreading Seas. So to bounce it before they activate it is a big deal. So if they cast it for 3 and you bounce it, then they're going to have to replay it the next turn. You can also bounce all your Spreading Seas back to your hand and reset them the way you want to. So Dismember looks like trash. That is not good. That's not where we want to be. The rest of this looks okay. 24 creatures. Master Wave's not that great. Too clunky. Whoops. So I can bring in Tidebinder Mage, or I could... Oh, I have to bring in Spell Pierce, so I don't have to bring in Spell Pierce. I don't want to bring in Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is a fine card, but it doesn't interact very well with our Chalice of the Void on 1. I have 24 creatures. And you may think, why am I bringing... Well, it's mono green Tron, so they can bring in Thragtusk, so we have Tidebinder Mage that can tap down Thragtusk. And it's just a 2-drop. 2-drops are fine against Tron. You just play 2-drop, 2-drop, hold the fort with some counter magic, and then, you know, win the game. Yeah, I don't want to change anything else. I'm just going to submit this. I don't want to go below 24 creatures. See if we draw Gemstone Caverns when we want it. So Tron is, if you look at all these matchups that I'm playing against, you know, Chalice of the Void is well positioned. It does things against them. I think Chalice of the Void is, it's just a card I'm trying to find out what is the best shell for Merfolk. But I wouldn't rush out to buy them, but I would have them on your radar. Chalice is a very good card for Merfolk. It is the type of card that we can play because we don't have that many 1-drops in our deck. It doesn't hit, doesn't hit Tidebinder Mage or Harbinger of the Tides or any of our lords. So it's a very useful card. And the metagame is just moved in such a way where it's very playable. And if you can main deck the card, then it should be well positioned. Just like it was well positioned against our opponent here. They would have had Tron. They would have had Tron, and we would not have done anything about it. Simple as that. And the convenient thing about Chalice of the Void is like you play it and then you can just tap out after that. Things like Negate take up a lot of mana. Spell Pierce doesn't take up as much mana, but still mana. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. And our opponent mulligan, which makes things even better. So we can go turn 1 Silvergill Adept into turn 2 Spreading Seas. Oh, absolutely we're performing this action. And our opponent mulligan, so it's like nothing even happened. So we're going to exile an island. So what's cool is we can put pressure on the board. We might even play turn 1 Chalice of the Void if we draw it. But we can put pressure on the board before we start playing Spreading Seas. Sometimes you get in this situation where they play Urza's Tower, then Urza's Mine, and then you know that and then you're incentivized to like hit one of the Tron lands immediately before you start playing creatures. Master Wave, not a good card in this matchup. That's why I shaved 2 of them. It's fine as, like, I don't know, a last-second bullet. But overall, it's very clunky. You know, how do I hold up Deprive when I have Master of Waves here? But sometimes, you know, against any deck, really, 2 is not... It won't kill you. It's just a just in case sort of card. Just in case things go bad, Master of Waves will save us. Another Silvergill Adept. So ideally, I would like to play Merfolk next turn and follow that up with like a Silvergill Adept into a Spreading Seas. But it looks like we're just going to have to play the Spreading Seas. Opponent played Urza's Mine. So they're threatening Tron. Interesting. Cracked Chromatic Sphere got nothing. Nothing, not a zip. So they have no 1-drops? It's possible they just have natural Tron in their hand. Oh, Ether Vial is very good, but we have to stop this Tron stuff. Maybe if we're lucky, we're going to draw a land here, play this Ether Vial, curve into Silvergill Adept, Merfolk, Master of Waves while we hold up Deprive. Nope. Attack for 2. Hopefully our opponent does not play a Tron land next turn. Or they don't play like an Urza's Mine or something like that. They don't threaten the Tron combo. Because if you can just give me 1 turn to play this Ether Vial, I'm going to be fine. I'm all good with everything else you do. We're gonna hide behind the Deprive. The Deprive. I actually haven't, up to this point, I have not had any trouble with Deprive. Like, if any of you guys remember, back in the summer, I was playtesting Deprive, but I couldn't remember. There was something awkward about playing this card against, what's it called? Like, control decks that I didn't like. Okay, so here's a Forest. Sylvan Scrying. There's this Power Plant. So if our opponent has Nature's Claim, or some sort of... Oh, there's the island. So the point is, our opponent could play Urza's Power Plant and then destroy the Urza's Mine and then start doing things. For that reason, I think we're going to attack for 2. And then maybe try to defend the whole thing? Like, I could just play Ether Vial and pass. And if our opponent plays something that threatens one of the enchantments, I'll deprive it. Sorry, the Spreading Seas or the Ether Vial. Chromatic Star, sure. That would get hit by... See, look, okay, so they have Chromatic Star, Chromatic Sphere, and these are all cards that get nailed by Chalice of the Void. Sylvan Scrying. I'm not convinced that they have Tron at all, so I'm willing to deprive this. They're not really demonstrating to me that they have Tron. They have to dig for it. Alright, so let's just get this party started. Start threatening a clock. We can do this in 2 turns. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have any more, like, I don't know, Sylvan Scryings, Ancient Stirrings to be activated off of their forest. We have some Silvergill Adepts and, like, Master of the Pearl Trident, so maybe we can get through some big cards that they play. Thragtusk is not really a big deal right now if they were to play it. World Breaker is an... Oh, they can't play World Breaker yet. They need Tron. The thing is, if we let our opponent... So I used my Deprive on the Sylvan Scrying because I would probably have to counter every single Haymaker after that. And I would rather just try to counter the thing that's going to get to the Haymakers. Here's Relic. That would get countered by Chalice of the Void. See, there's a lot of cards that get stuck in their hand. And you might think, well, why does this person have Relic in their deck? And it might be because they are playing... They don't have enough cards for this matchup, and they just need something. Okay, so they just played a Forest, so they can't play anything stupid this turn. They got Urza's Mine. Okay, so they've got Tron next turn. So what can we do on our turn? Tidebire Mage, not useful. Show Master of the Pearl Trident. I'm going to untap an island. We're looking for Spreading Seas, basically, or a counterspell. Deprive is fine. Master of Waves, not ideal. I'll play another Silvergill Adept. How do I do this? I could play Ether. I could activate Ether Vial. What are some bad things that could happen? I have a lot of cards in my hand. There's no point in wasting them. I could activate Ether Vial. And if I don't get anything good, then I can play Tidebire Mage, untap the Ether Vial. But if I get something good like Spreading Seas, because if I hard cast this thing with Silvergill Adept, I can't cast Spreading Seas or Deprive. So we could go for... Okay, let's activate Ether Vial. Deprive? Spreading Seas? Good stuff? No. So in that case, I'm just going to attack for 5, and we will threaten lethal next turn. I'll play Tidebire Mage, untapping the Ether Vial. See what our opponent can do. Wonder what Ulamog can do here. Ulamog can hit the Mare and the Spreading Seas. But we can play Master of the Pearl Trident, and I think just attack for lethal. So Ulamog doesn't even do it. Because they do have Ulamog mana. But it's not useful or anything like that. The worst thing, I guess, right now would be Oblivion Stone, because that wipes the board. Wipes the board clean. Including the Ether Vial. If it is Ugin, it's not pleasant, but I can live with that. If it's Karn, that's useless. Just 7 mana? Okay, it's Ulamog. So Ulamog is useless here. We have too many creatures. If they hit 2 Merfolk, then we play Master of the Pearl Trident, and we're just going to have Island Walk and kill them. If they hit Spreading Seas, and any other thing, then it doesn't do anything. So yeah, they're going to get their Ulamog, but you know what? Do I can beat Ulamog? Island Walk! Island Walk beats Ulamog. And I'm certainly happy that I deployed all those creatures from my hand last turn. It would be great if I draw a land. I'll Violin the Merfolk and cast Master of Ways, tapping the Ulamog and attack for the win. And that's the manabase.com Get Dunked On instant replay. So we had multiple routes to victory, even if they got rid of the Spreading Seas, but it didn't matter. They were just dead if that was the best thing that they could do. So yeah, we beat Tron. We saw the power of Chalice of the Void, and I want to just illustrate, how well Chalice works in the metagame right now. We saw some demonstration of that in this match, and I hope to see even more after that. So if you are interested in Chalice of the Void, don't worry. We're gonna have probably more of that coming up in the rest of this series. So we're going to thank all my patrons supporting me on Patreon, and we're going to thank the manabase.com for being our sponsor. This has been Nikachu, playing Merfolk in Modern.